Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Akiva here, running a solo video for you today because we had a little bet made in the comments section. So this build in front of me here is going to look really familiar to anybody who's been in the channel for any length of time. Way back towards the end of Alpha 18, we put out a video that was titled, "Does Base Design Matter in Endgame?" The idea being that if you built a big-ass block of steel, or if you're using creator mode stainless steel, that shit's basically too tough for the Horde to really cave in. Now, we ran it with our usual settings on a usual Horde night, and they scratched it up a little bit. It was nothing too serious, so we felt pretty comfortable with that theory. Had a user named Demandred1957 who's basically calling Shenanigans, saying that if you run it on an Ultra Horde, there's no way in hell that's going to work. So we're going to see whether or not that's actually the case. I'm going to go ahead and link him and his channel in the video description too. Check him out, show him some love. What we've got here is a premise where I have to run a Horde night on day 126 with a game stage that's at least 250, and as you can see, I'm at 510, so we're way past that thing. We have to have 64 Zeds per wave, so I've changed the server settings to match that. Usually we run that about 40 with 5 people because otherwise it just starts to become a little bit of a lag issue. Hopefully that's not too bad solo. You may notice I've downgraded my resolution from the usual 3440 by 1440. I'm back down to 1080 for this, just to hopefully not completely tank the server here. I know that's going to be a bit of a load. It's probably a little easier to run something like that on a single player game locally, but fingers crossed, we'll see how that shakes out. The other difference here is that versus the old steel cube, he is giving an allowance to make this about 25% bigger. So that one was 10 by 10 by 6. This one is 12 by 12 by 8, rounding 25%. The only other significant changes are I've added these extra poles here to accommodate for the ceiling on the extra width, and put myself in a little couple of boxes just with some spare ammo and shit in case I start to run a little low on Horde Night, because this is going to be a lot of fucking killing. Other than that, it's basically the same in terms of time and duration for what we usually do. The one bonus for me, and I'm not sure he was aware of this, is actually he wants this on Nomad difficulty, where we usually run on Warrior, so I might catch a little bit of a break on that one. Hopefully that pans out and works a little bit in my favor. This is going to be a hell of a zombie load, no lie, but I still feel pretty comfortable about the fact that a 12 by 12 block of steel is not something that this Horde Night is going to be able to take down and put me in the dirt. We'll see how this shakes out. What I'm going to do is run the Horde Night in real time, and then speed it up a little bit with no edits, so you guys are going to be able to see every second of the gameplay at probably like 150-200%, just so this video is not super duper crazy long. Let's see how she does. Now, homie has also agreed that not only can I use any handheld weapons, I can't use any kind of traps, electric fences, anything like that, but I can bring out any junk turrets that I wanted to and robotic sledges. The sledges aren't going to do me a whole lot on this, but I did bring out both of my trusty junk turrets and a bunch of ammo for these, so hopefully that'll help me do a little crowd control off here in the field once this stuff starts coming out. Got about 2 minutes before they show up. Let's see what happens. Well, looks like this here Horde Night's just about over. 3:45, and I'm not getting any more spawns, so I think we can call this one done. Yeah, they carved a notch out, just like we saw the last time. They beat on the walls, and they take some blocks out. The Horde this size obviously takes a few more blocks out than our previous one. But even with me running those junk turrets and not giving a goddamn fuck about setting demos off, this is the most damage any side took, and this is maybe a quarter of the way into the actual depth of the blocks here. I mean, and honestly, I set a few of those demos off intentionally, just because I knew that explosion would thin the Horde a little bit, and I'll admit that Hordes this size, personally, I just don't find all that fun, because you just drain thousands and thousands of rounds of ammunition and a shit ton of grenades and stuff into them in order to do anything. So I personally don't see a huge amount of appeal there, but hey, everybody's allowed to play the settings however they want. But in terms of whether or not the cube idea here and whether or not steel can stand up to that kind of Horde, I think once again we've seen that, yeah, it can. I was never in any serious threat. There was one time I got down to about 50 health, and honestly that was just because of the fucking bird spit. Horde this size, yeah, that's a volume of spit that, I'll admit, I'm not particularly used to and don't particularly enjoy, but it wasn't hugely life-threatening. I never got into single digits or was getting wailed on by anything. The turrets I had going were taking care of most of the birds. It was just the spit all night long. Spit, 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 just getting soaked in it. But the base itself is in pretty good shape. I mean, this is, 10 minutes worth of repair work. There's nothing serious here. This is a long, long way from coming down, and a long way from putting me in the dirt and, exposing me to any other non-spit related dangers. I think we can put this one in the books as a win. And Demandred 1957, I'll go ahead and wait for you to recant your previous comments. It's been a pleasure doing business with you, buddy. Thanks, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. If you excuse me, it's the weekend, and I have some fresh meats to edit.